Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you embarked on a journey to a brand new destination without pulling it up on your GPS or at least map questing it first? Probably never. The point is, planning is crucial, especially when it comes to completing any kind of creative project. Of course, we want to hit the ground running, we want to move fast, we want to get into the fun stuff, but you do have to sit down, you have to plan, and more specifically, you have to build out a very detailed timeline for each of your projects. So, here are 5 tips for building out a good project timeline. Tip number 1, prepare a project brief and gather any necessary resources before you get started. The worst thing that can happen is you get knee deep in a project and you realize you don't even have all the materials necessary to continue on. For example, if you're putting together a brochure and maybe you have some external resource helping you on the project, make sure you don't just send them a link to your website hoping that they'll fill in the gaps. Where are the project guidelines? Where are all the brand assets? Prepare all of this ahead of time. Do not skip this step. Tip number 2, set and stick to realistic deadlines, and not just the end deadline for the project, but every little deadline along the way. How do you meet the end deadline? Well, you reach every little checkpoint along the way on time. Well, set those all out accordingly. How long will each step take? And please make sure they're realistic. We all want to pretend we're Superman and that we can work way faster than we can. We want to overpromise and then we end up under-delivering. Do the opposite. Make sure it's realistic, slow down, greatness isn't rushed, set realistic deadlines. Tip number 3 may sound obvious, but it is to follow through with the process. Stick to your timeline, follow each step. Let me ask you, what good is a recipe unless you carefully follow each step? What if you forget the scoop of sugar? Your whole family will hate you. Those cookies will be awful. The end result is no good. The same is for your creative project. Make sure to follow your timeline to the T. Tip number 4 is to define specialties and responsibilities. It's not enough just to know every little step to be completed along the way, but who is actually going to be doing what and which specialty is appropriate to complete that exact step. Don't have the graphic designer take on the new custom illustration project. Maybe that isn't even their specialty. So make sure everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing ahead of time. Plan it all out in your timeline. Tip number 5 is to define every deliverable. And I don't just mean the very end deliverable, the final project. Ask yourself, what should every deliverable be along your timeline? All the drafts. Think about all the revisions. And think about what actually that will look like. What's the file format? What's the word count? Make sure it is clearly defined in your timeline. You know, I can't help but say that timelines are a power tool that we use here at Designity. When you work with Designity for a flat monthly rate, you're never left wondering when your final delivery date is and what every single tiny little step will be taken to complete your project by the final delivery date and what every deliverable will be along the way. We set clear, realistic, transparent timelines for every single project, no matter the size. Hey, maybe you've already seen all this in action. Maybe you are currently working with us. In that case, thank you for partnering with us on your creative projects. It really is an honor. And if you don't know us yet, if you haven't worked with us yet, and you do need some help on some creative projects, then we would love to hear from you. I would love to personally have a conversation with you. And also keep in mind too, we do have a trial period. It's a chance to actually work with your creative director on your projects and get to see your exact tailored timeline for your unique project. So can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for watching and take care.